Hello and good evening, everyone. I am back for another insightful video. I just wanted to share what I know about the color theory that we use in art and stuff, and coming across information regarding the Magenta Agenda. As soon as I heard about this concept of Magenta Agenda, I immediately knew what it meant, and I'm going to show you guys what it actually means. So this is a band right here, Imp Queen. I guess it's an album cover or something. But as you can see, they always subvert everything for their demonic purpose. And they pay these people a lot of money to do these types of things, to exploit themselves, basically, for a dollar bill. And it's the ultimate price and sacrifice of selling your soul to a piece of paper instead of being an upstanding citizen and standing in any kind of virtuous characteristics. So all of the world is a stage right now for everyone to either join forces with the light or join forces with the darkness. And the darkness is open for business and ready to hire anyone who will sell out for $1, as we already know, and that's what Hollywood's all about. But the Magenta Agenda is an entirely different notion of basically it's flags of war. It's the color of war. So let's get into that a little bit. In art, we learn about the main three colors, what they call primary colors. And the primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. Through those primary colors, you can make every other color in the rainbow spectrum except white and black. Now, there are different reds and different yellows and different blues that you have to use in the cycles of paint, in the materials and things to obtain those colors, but the concept is the same. And so in the visual spectrum, what we have is red, green, and blue. And those colors combined will make these other secondary colors. So the red and green will make yellow, and the red and blue will make magenta, and the blue and green will make a teal color, also known as cyan. Now, the CMYK is obviously a subtractive technique where you use those secondary colors as the main colors and then reverse it back to primary colors. Now, green is not a primary color in the visual spectrum of art. When we learn art, it's always about red, yellow, blue. But I suppose, the green is close enough to the yellow. That's a very interesting aspect to see how the light frequencies actually combine in a different manner as opposed to the visual spectrum and how it's used for art. So the visual spectrum is based in waveforms. And these waveforms, think of them not only in this 2D aspect, but in a 3D field of energy that is spiraling, basically. So all these vortices of energy are spiraling, pushing and pulling energies, and creating these waveforms. And we perceive these in 2D, when they're drawn out. But they actually have 3D fields of energy that we cannot see. But the easiest way to explain anything is with the 2D line drawings and things. The highest frequency is ultraviolet. Anything beyond that is going to be out of our visual spectrum, which means that higher frequency beings will be in this higher spectrum and above. They're in a different light spectrum from us. And our range is only from the violet area all the way down to red. Anything beneath red is going to be in the infrared spectrum, which is going to be the lower realms. This is why in the Vietnam War, the use of infrared goggles, the initial use, I should say, is when they actually were perceiving demons in another realm through the use of the goggles. If we developed some sort of visual light where you can see in the dark and changed the color of the lenses, we would be able to see demons, literally. Or if we were able to subsequently change to an ultraviolet spectrum and have the same goggles, we would be able to see UFOs and other things that are zipping around in our reality that are invisible to our naked eyes. That is how this world is operating right now, these invisible worlds are operating all around us, and we're just not able to see them because they're in a different frequency. Again, this is the ultraviolet spectrum. This is above our field of vision. In this range right here, now coming back down to the violet aspect, we can see this. And this is an image of that visible spectrum. We cannot see beyond, up above in the higher realms. And we can't see below in the lower realms. But when you take this strip and you take the infrared and the violet and you put them together, if you were to mix these two colors and connect them in a loop, you would get magenta. With the two combining, it means that the higher realms are at war with the lower realms and vice versa. And this is what the meaning of the Magenta Agenda actually is. It is a war from the lower planes to the higher planes, and we are caught in the middle. This is us right here. We're in Midgard. We're in the blue and green zone. All of the other zones are battling, and we are now battling because the whole thing is at war. This is just a simpler way to explain what's happening with this Magenta Agenda thing. And when you go and you see things that are coming out of Hollywood, and when they have backgrounds and backdrops, and they use this beautiful color, it is an absolute beautiful color. We can't deny that this is really pretty. But it is a sign, and symbolism is everything in our world, everything that we were not taught. It is a sign of war. And as you can see, when you have things like this, perpetuating this type of mentality to children and influencing their growth in this arena is madness and a sickness, and it is a violation of someone's actual free will, and it sets them on a course that steers their lives. I believe in freedom, a freedom to choose. But when children are molded in this manner to these obscenities, it is an agenda. And there's no denying that this is going on and being perpetuated by the veil of darkness at this venture in our evolution. What they are doing is de-maining the lion, and then they're throwing the divine feminine into a tailspin as well. Everything is to subvert the natural balance of humanism and what it means to be humans, because everything is going to be thrown upside down on its head. We live in the upside down right now, where right is wrong and good is bad. But you and me and others, we are the foundations of the future, who have to hold our feet steadfast in a purpose of maintaining and holding the line and the balance in the world. For me, that balance is much bigger, because I feel like there's a bigger task at hand that we need to join forces on. And that task at hand is the practice of magic, to bring the magic back to the world. Now, I do not know any adepts in this arena who teach magic at the level that is needed right now. So I have actually created my own group, so to speak. It's called Journey of Selfhood, and we meet twice a month on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to join forces and to learn Franz Barden's work about the initiation into Hermetics, and to begin the practice of meditation and breathing exercises. It's learning who we truly are is the foundations of what it's really entails, because we are needed in the world right now to bring back the systems of nature and bring the balance back to the world through natural means, which is us reconnecting to the divine energy that's within each one of us. It is real, and I have only merely touched upon it. It has let itself be known in my life, and this is why I know there's so much more to this reality than most average people out here. I have only had glimpses into the potential of what could possibly be. And that potential rests inside each one of us to truly know ourselves and to truly learn what it means to be in this existence. That is what I'm after. And if anyone else out there is interested in learning these practices, please inquire at the email address in the description box. I do ask for a monthly donation of $15 to join this group that I've created, because I just wanted to form a group where we actually study Franz Barden together. But now I think it's time to get serious, and it's time to start actually practicing everything that's in these books, because time is speeding up and the war is speeding up. We just experienced, in my part of the world, we just experienced a tornado that came through a neighboring town next to mine. And they have been supercooling and superheating the atmosphere. Basically, all they can do right now is allow the natural process of winter to amplify their initiation into this war. And what they do is they use DARPA. They use DARPA space weapons. We live in space, you guys. We live in space. NASA's version of space is a lie. And we are the space that they are attacking right now. We are living and existing in the space that they wish to weaponize. These weapons are on a grand scale weather manipulators, and now they've also got their cell phone towers as part of the weapons system. They can amplify all of the particulates that they're spraying in the atmosphere. They can amplify all of this energy through the means of the high ionic atmospheric spraying that they do, and then using these different frequency machines that they have around the world to invoke all of their actions on us. This is a problem because most people don't know about this. See, it's using the phased array technologies. If you guys have ever seen a phased array, it looks like this. This is the modern day phased array. It's like a honeycomb. And each one of these little devices in the center is sending out a frequency. What they've found out is that this honeycomb can amplify the energy more so than even a satellite dish. And so they have these things now, and they're attacking us, and they're at war. Basically, the underworld has built all this technology because they've been summoning the jinn from the underworld to gain all of this knowledge about how they can actually take over the world. And now we are in the middle between the higher realms, who also have UFOs and all this technology. And I'm going to go ahead and just say, my whole theory is that the Hyperboreans are the ones who have the UFO technology and are helping us with certain factions of our government, because there's two factions in everything. There's the light and the dark. They're in our governments, they're in our society, they're in all of the corporations. Everywhere, all over the world, we're waging war in all arenas. And it's time to wake up to all of it, all around us, and to what degree this rabbit hole goes. How deep is it? It's very, very deep. And the hidden things are about to be brought into the light. And that's these people and beings that we've never known about. That's about to come out. Apparently, the governments around the world have been releasing slowly the evidence of the UFO phenomena. And it is now reaching a pivotal point where all of humanity is going to know where these UFOs have been coming from and who has them and for what purpose. All of the technology that we had in the past was free energy technology until the 1700s and 1800s. In the 1800s, they began removing all of that technology. This war has been waging since the dawn of time between light and dark, and it will continue to wage war. The only problem is we've been living in the dark side of it, not knowing that we were living in darkness. And now we're about to learn that the light is getting brighter, and it's going to shine so much that we're going to know exactly in the directions that we do not wish to be and who has been perpetuating the darkness. So the Great Awakening is here, and they're losing control on that aspect. And that's why we're going to be feeling some truly challenging moments in our lives. As we move forward into the future, it's going to be even more challenging. So they have all of this kind of technology to amplify things. This is what a phased array does. As you can see, they have little conductors and things, and then they'll put out all of the different boxes and devices. They have around them the little cage, and the little T connector in the middle amplifies. But as they are all lined up in a row, they then join forces, sending out a larger beam and a larger spread, much like what they're doing spraying in the sky, where they overlay things and then it spreads out. So here again, we have the visual spectrums. These are the wavelengths that they have. The ultraviolet is going to be even closer together. These are very high frequencies. The red spectrum is going to have the lowest frequency. So it's going to be low and long wavelengths, whereas the higher the frequency, the waves get more frequent. This is the human color receptors that are in our eyes. We have red, green, and blue, and this is what we see in the visual field. Yeah, so on this other channel, Quantum of Conscience, they began talking about the great purpling. Purple itself is not something to be feared, although I have been seeing these lights that are very questionable that they're putting out on interstates in different cities right now, where they have these purple lights. And apparently some people who had gotten themselves the snake bite actually use a UV lamp to shine on their hands, and it's been illuminating things inside of them. So this whole notion of having these purple lights around in the societal places, the cities, big cities, and different places where people might convene, it may be part of this whole agenda, and most likely it is, because change is here, and we're going to see the obvious changes. But what does that mean for the rest of us? We know that the people who have accepted their reality are going to be susceptible to all of the notions that these beings of darkness are perpetuating. But what does that mean for the rest of us? It means that at some point, you may have to make a decision and make a stand in some area of your life. Because as we go forward in the future, it can mean that we lose our houses, we lose our cars, we lose a lot of connectivity to society due to the fact that we do not wish to consent to all of the trials and tribulations that come with accepting this new societal norm. I know I do not accept it, so I've wholeheartedly embraced the notion that, I could lose absolutely everything based on my own decisions. And I am fine with that. I have to be, because I realize that the world that's growing all around me is not one that I truly want to embrace or even be a part of. So what does that mean for my future? I have no idea. But it's things that we have to consider as far as, if we wish to remain a sovereign soul, or if we wish to remain inside the Borg system that is developing. That shall be each individual's personal choice. But I'm going to leave all of these links in the description box so that you can check everything out. And, hopefully we will be seeing some sort of end to the war very soon. I feel like by 2027, we should be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, because it may be very well that we are in the 7-year war that is spoken of in Revelations, but I'm not sure. I don't really put my faith in the Bible 100%. I do read certain aspects. I have one that was given to me by someone, and I just use it as a reference material for when I need to look something up. But as far as a modus operandi as a guidebook for my soul, that is not the book for me. I don't believe that one book has all the answers, but a lot of people do. And no offense to you if you do put all of your faith in that book, but I stand on my own divine conscience to seek knowledge where it may be found. And since I am a deep diver and a person who is into metaphysical information, I traverse many different teachings, not just one. So I remain open to the synchronicities that may come into my life to lead me in a particular direction based on my innate inner knowing and understanding of the divine and the principles that I'm connected to innately inside of me. And I do encourage everyone else to connect with your higher self and your higher senses and know yourself fully and be completely 100% honest with yourself, because it's the only way to truly navigate this war with some sort of perspective of inner wisdom and inner guide. I also wanted to mention about how the weather anomalies have been ramping up as of late. In Georgia last week, we experienced temperatures drop to 12 degrees after we had experienced a few days of warmth. And then this past week, in the middle of the week, like Wednesday and Thursday, we experienced the temperatures rise again, and it rained on Wednesday. But then on Thursday is when the temperature went into 70 degrees, and we had a thunderstorm that was coming through in January of all things. And all of a sudden the temperatures dropped and the winds picked up, and there was a tornado warning that was in the town next to mine. Then the temperatures have dropped again, and it's back down into the 40s during the day, and it's dropping down into the low 30s at night. And again, next Wednesday, the temperatures are going to rise, and then they're going to fall. Now, the thing to note, which is interesting, is that these weather anomalies are happening in the middle of the week. They just so happen to fall on Woden's Day, or Odin's Day, Wednesday. And the powerhouse that comes is on Thor's Day, which is Thursday. So that's when the tornado happened this past Thursday. And looks like we're going to have something very similar happen next week, with rain moving in by midweek and the temperatures rising to the 60s and 70s. And then subsequently, it's going to fall again. It's almost as if someone is trying to forge us, and they're going to squeeze everyone awake by doing this yo-yo routine and striking the hammer down with their weapon warfare. It's the only way to wake people up is for it to be right in their face. Unfortunately, but we have too many people who are still asleep. They're still going about their daily practices. They do not see the danger all around. They do not see the problems all around, but they are just mindlessly moving along as if nothing is happening, as if nothing has changed. That's where we have to rise to meet the challenge and to do what we can. We will be convening to have a general meeting to speak about such things and some of the very simple practices that we can start employing in our own day-to-day world to help combat all of the forces against us right now. With that, I'm going to leave all these things for you to traverse, and I will see you soon.